Opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on Fifth Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning, KW, Arch, Ambient, AJC. Hope you're all doing well. Philly's doing his job. He's getting us on the air. Everything after that's gravy. After that, Philly's like, listen, I'm just going to put my feet up. I may nap. I'll keep my phone on so you can call me right as we hit the break.
So was there a time that you guys actually took callers?
Yes. And I would like to take callers. Mark would not. I would like to take callers. Okay, but here's the problem. We don't have like an 800 or an 888 line. I didn't want to give out a 239 prefix as our phone.
How come?
Okay. Because I don't want, it makes the show sound small. Okay. If we're trying to be a network show, I want people in Tampa, I want them calling into an 888 Florida.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay. We'll say this though. When we take callers, and we will, it puts more pressure on you.
Oh,
You have to screen them, and screening them is also like, listen, guys, we don't have a lot of time. You got to get to it. If you dilly-dally around, we're just going to disconnect you.
I think that makes my job more interesting. I mean, yes, it's more pressure.
It does. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. The other thing, the reason why I want an 800 number is I want to know the name of the caller and where they're from. I don't want all the calls sounding like they're coming from Lee and Collier County.
Right.
And if it's a 239 prefix, okay, I think most of the calls will.
Right. I honestly can't explain why people didn't show up to last night's Marlins game. I mean, was it the Cardinals?
No. I think it was because it was the day after the holiday, and people tried to get back in their routine and go back to work and that sort of deal. But like, I actually thought their July 4th crowd was low. It was like just under 15,000. I thought they'd do a lot more than that.
I feel like a lot of people in Miami take this week off,
Hold on a second. Ambient, what do you mean issues? And by the way, most of the time, guys, the issues are not us. Believe it or not. If there are issues streaming, like yesterday when I got disconnected, that was us. But like oftentimes at this hour of the morning, the issues are Twitch or YouTube. And they, for whatever reason, they need a little bit of time to get the kinks out.
By the way, this is also the time of the year, and I was going to say this on air, I forgot to say it. This is the time of the year that we are reminded why we build domes.
Well, yeah. I mean, Art saying it was hot as hell. They've got a dome.
Yeah.
It's air conditioned. It was 75.
I was gonna start getting into the stories that I have of me,
That's
trapped
good. We all have them.
trapped at Dolphin Stadium.
Yeah, we all have them.
Rain
It's why Mark doesn't go to football games in September anymore. I took him to the Swamp for a Tennessee game in mid-September, like a decade or so ago. He looked at me. He said, "No way, never again."
I feel like I've never been to the Swamp. I feel like it's a very grimy place.
It's not grimy, but it's hot.
Ooh.
There's almost no shelter from the sun.
Yeah. And it's all metal bleachers.
It's metal. Listen, the booth, it's the hottest booth I've ever worked in.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we're surrounded by asbestos and metal with no breeze coming in. I mean,
Okay, I've asked the worst booth in the NFL, which is the Dome, the Superdome. What's the best?
SoFi.
Oh yeah, true. That's not surprising. Have you done Allegiant?
Yeah, I've been everywhere but Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I'm doing, I think I'm doing a home Steelers game early in the season.
Let's go. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. Mark is off till Monday. The Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You can text the show, 21,000. Felipe, about every other break, leaves the booth, runs over to the text line, checks it out, looks for a positive comment, reads the negative ones, comes back and says, nah, nothing I want to share with you from there. 21,000. If you've never texted the show before, you need to send in the keyword FSN radio with 21,000, and there you go. Then Felipe can read your insults. Try not to make it personal about him. Make it about me, not about him. He's still young. He's fragile. Okay?
I don't care.
Yes, he does. He cares a lot.
Don't.
He cares a lot. He cares a lot. We're jumping up and down last segment about the Marlins, and now it's the Rays. First moment of the season. Lost 4 in a row. Got some starting pitchers on the IL. They're a man short on the roster because they got this guy that they want to keep on the roster all year so that they don't have to offer him back in the Rule 5 draft. Do they have enough pitching? Or are they just a team that's a little tired? And you know what they need? They need a good all-star break. You know what the problem is? They're playing the Phillies, who are red hot on the road. They've now won 11 straight road games. Got to admit, that's pretty damn impressive.
That is unbelievable.
I don't care who you're playing. I mean, think about it. Rays went to Oakland and were fortunate to split a 4-game series. I mean, 11 straight road games. I mean, you could play the 62 Mets 11 straight times in the Polo Grounds. I'm not sure you do better than 9-2.
Just doing everything they can to be right behind the Marlins.
Yes. I mean, and that's the other thing. The Marlins are like, hey, come on, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I am very disappointed with the Rays.
Come on now. Come on. We're kind of hoping for a little 2 out of 3 against the Phillies there, kind of help out our cause. Phillies are like, no, man, we've got it figured out. We're on a roll. Ever since the Mets swept us the end of May, since June 1st, baby, we're right up there with the best teams in baseball. And so Rays have lost 4 in a row. And here's the problem. If they don't win today, they got the Braves coming to town for 3. Oh, boy.
Good luck.
I mean, that's right now, that looks like the 61 Yankees and the 76 Reds coming to town. Man, they won 10 of 11. They got 8 All-Stars. Coulda, shoulda had a couple more, but, at some point, we got to let others from other teams in. At least that's what they say. I'd put all the Braves in, to be honest with you. In fact, I might just want to see the American League All-Stars play the Braves. Throw in a little Ellie De La Cruz in the late innings. Mookie Betts, all right, Ellie De La Cruz, and the Braves. I'd be good with that.
The NL All-Stars versus the Braves.
Well, I'm not sure how many National Leaguers would be all-stars if we put the Braves lineup out there. I mean, their whole damn infield's going to the All-Star game. I think 3 of the 4 are starting. Anyway, Phillies won 8-4. Rays have lost 4 in a row. Here's the good news. 5-game lead in the division. And you kind of have to hope that, between the Orioles and the Yankees and the Blue Jays with a little touch of Red Sox, that they're all going to kind of sort of beat each other up, right? I will say this about the Orioles. And there are a handful of Orioles fans who have listened religiously to Miller and Moulton for most of the last 17 years. It's that whole Sarasota-Bradenton thing. The Orioles are the best system in baseball right now. Now, they're not the best organization in baseball. That's either the Rays or the Braves. Okay, but the Orioles have the most high-end prospects of any organization. Some are arguing the Dodgers system's still deeper. Okay, the Reds have a couple of elite prospects. One of them's already been called up in De La Cruz. But the Orioles in the last year plus have called up four high-end prospects, including a guy yesterday who, when they were down 2-0 in the 6th, came up with a big hit to start the rally and lead them to a win over the Yankees. And they got 4 more apparently lined up and ready to go over the course of the next 12 months. So the Orioles apparently, and they're not spending any money either. I mean, they're looking at the Rays payroll going, man, you guys are spending a lot of money. But they're 5 back.
Is it safe to say that 1 and 2 in the AL East is bottom 2 in payroll?
Well, certainly in that division.
Certainly in that division, yeah.
But they're also 2 of the bottom 5 in the American League. I mean, maybe Kansas City and Oakland. But if you're running the Rays, how calm are you right now? How patient are you going to be right now? You got 3.5 weeks to the trade deadline. August 1st is the trade deadline, which is 4 weeks from this past Tuesday. So you got 26 days, basically. How patient are you going to be? You're going to be like, yeah, tough stretch, long first half, we're tired, the team's getting us at the right time, yada, yada, yada. If you had told us when the season started that at the All-Star break we'd be leading the East, ... Or are you like, yeah, we're going to have to make some deals here. We're going to have to, and I think you got to go get some pitching. That's just me. I think you got to go get some pitching. If I'm the Rays, they're not ready to sell yet. And the worst thing that's happened to you is they just went on a 4-game winning streak. But if I'm the Rays, I'm looking at David Robertson for the Mets. He's a high leverage, late innings reliever. He can get lefties out as a right-handed pitcher. You could put David Robertson in a big spot in September and October in the 8th and 9th innings, and he'd be unfazed. He has an expiring contract. Somebody like that, if I'm the Rays, interests me. By the way, the Mets need young pitching. They have virtually none of it. And I'm not even talking at the major league level. I'm talking the minor league level. All right, so if you're a Rays fan, you need this Mets winning streak to stop. You need them to want to sell.
I love this time of the year where contenders go after star players on bottom feeders.
Well, it doesn't have to be a star player, and it doesn't have to be a bottom feeder. Like, you're not taking the best player off Oakland or Kansas City. You're taking the fill-in closer on the Mets, who should be better than they are, but they're not. And they may be in a position in 2-3 weeks to sell.
I know they're 40 and 46, but I think the Mets are bottom feeders this year.
Well, they're not bottom feeders. You can't have a $350 million payroll and be bottom feeders. You can't have a healthy rotation of Scherzer, Verlander, Sengo, Rodon, and be a bottom feeder. I mean, I'm sorry. They're not a bottom feeder.
They are trash, is all I'm saying.
Hey, Felipe, in all honesty, you keep talking like that, I'll turn off the microphone. Okay, they're not trash. They're underperforming. It's like saying the Padres are bottom feeders. They're not. They're a good team masquerading as an underperforming one. Now, if they continue to masquerade as an underperforming one for 3 more weeks, both those teams may have to sell. The White Sox, quite frankly, are a team like that. You look at their roster, you're like, how the hell are they that bad? I mean, I was listening to somebody the other day who's like, I keep waiting for them to go on a streak and get back in the AL Central race. Instead, they're in 4th place.
It's a long season. It's almost like we should split it in half,
Well, I've heard that idea before. I'm in favor of it. Let me tell you, 3 teams I just mentioned be in favor of it: the Mets, the Padres, and the White Sox.
No doubt.
In fact, the Mets and the Padres will have just started the second half of the season with 4-game winning streaks. All right. So if you're a Rays fan, you're going, come on, long season, 26 weeks. This is just one of them. Relax. We're in first place. We'll get our pitching healthy. We're fine. Or are you like, we've kind of overachieved a little bit. Maybe we should get some reinforcements. The starting 5 is on the other side. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for
David
listening.
Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
While talking with my friends Jason and Todd with the Diamond District, the 4th of July came up, and Todd was like,
Jason, the Diamond District is celebrating 20 years in business. Let's give something away for free this 4th of July.
Then Jason, with that aha look on his face, said,
Todd, I had the perfect idea. I was wearing my Bose audio sunglasses at the pool the other day and loved the feel, the look, and the sound. Let's do this. With a purchase of $500 or more, we'll give a pair of these sweet sounding shades away.
It didn't take Todd long to agree.
Jason, you're brilliant. Who wouldn't want Bose audio sunglasses? And for a purchase of $500 or more, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Now through the 4th of July, free Bose audio sunglasses with your purchase of $500 or more from the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Can I ask you an honest question?
Yeah.
Why does the Miami sports fan hate New York as much as they do?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
you guys, here's what I don't understand. The Knicks have not been good during the entire time that the Heat have been good. I don't understand why you hate the Knicks so much. And boy, do you guys hate the Knicks. Okay. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I grew up hating the Knicks.
Why? I don't understand why all the hatred towards New York. First off, if there wasn't a New York, there wouldn't be a South Florida. Let's get that straight right now. And it's true.
It is.
It's totally true.
That's true.
Okay. So, but it's amazing. Like the reason you said that about the Mets is because there's New York in front of them.
Oh, any opportunity I have to dig on the Mets, I will.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're trash. And remember, you're on the radio. This isn't a college blog. Okay, try not to sound like an ass if you can prevent it. All right,
My bad. Sorry,
but I don't understand. I mean it. I don't understand why all the hatred towards New York. Is it? I mean, the Knicks and Heat aren't even division rivals. I get the Jets Dolphins thing. I totally get that. That goes back to the 60s. I get it.
I mean,
the Rangers and Panthers have played once in the playoffs.
I will say a lot of people, a lot of New Yorkers are in Miami.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mets fans, they show up.
Yes.
So when the Mets are in town against the Marlins, you get
right. And you do know how to counter that, right? If
by,
you guys
by showing up.
If you guys go to the games, then there's less tickets for the New York Mets fans.
It's hard. It's hard to flush out Mets fans from any ballpark. It really is.
It's true, but it's amazing to me the hatred towards the New York, everything New York and Miami. I mean, honestly, before the Cuban American influence, Miami was New York South. I mean, New York built Miami. The money for Miami came from New York.
I think that the Dolphins Jets combined with the high intensity playoff series between the Knicks and the Heat, combined with the fact that the Mets and the Marlins have been in the same division for forever. I think the three of those things contribute to that. I don't know. I mean, it's not like a deep hatred. It's just like a
no. It's a deep hatred.
You know what? Yeah. Dolphins. The Dolphins hate the Jets,
but people from South Florida hate New York. They hate New York.
Well, you want to know why? Because they think that Miami is just the way better version of New York. And
okay,
it's debatable, obviously, but
here's my point, Felipe. You do know New York doesn't give a rat's ass about Miami.
Of course not.
None of their fan bases do. None of their. Honestly,
people from Miami are just haters, and they need something to hate.
If you were to do a man on the street story in the New York metropolitan area, what do you think of Miami and South Florida? It's really nice. Hope to go down on vacation there soon. Seriously.
Maybe a couple of people will be like, yeah, there's a lot of ass.
And maybe you'll get a Jets fan going, well, I root against the Dolphins, but otherwise, I like it. I got family down there. Seriously. But it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's in the media, too. Levitard's hatred of New York is, wow. Who's the AP guy that I like? All he does is crush on New York. And I still like him. Tim Reynolds.
I was about to say Tim Reynolds.
And he's funny, by the way. He's funny Twitter follow.
He is great. Yeah,
he is.
He has some great tweets.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a lot easier. At least in my lifetime, it's been a lot easier to hate on the Jets over anyone else in that division, just because, obviously I've always hated the Patriots and Tom Brady, but it's like, they just keep winning, like it's ridiculous,
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, discussing Miami's obsession and hatred with everything New York during the break. It's another reason to feel free to download and follow and watch the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Commercial breaks sometimes are even better than the show. Well, hell, you've listened to the show. You would hope the commercial breaks would be better. Hello. All right. Let's do this.
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
First off, here's what you need to know. The magic numbers are 51, 56, and 63.
Woo!
7 weeks from Saturday is week 0 of the college football season, but 8 weeks tonight, Gators, UCF, kicking off week 1 of the college football season. Not against each other, but they're playing. And 9 weeks tonight, Lions and Chiefs, my oh my, 51, 56, and 63. Story 2, Major League Baseball. Little over 18,000 at the Trop. Saw the Rays lose their 4th in a row. Saw the Phillies win their 11th straight road game. 7 different players drove in a run for Philly, 8-4 over Tampa Bay. Rays lead cut to 5 in the East because the Orioles salvaged a game against the Yankees, 6-3 the final. Colton Cowser was the top prospect who was called up before the game. He had a key RBI single in the 6th, the 4-run inning for Baltimore, which propelled them to the win. Do you know, going back to when the Orioles called up that Rauschman guy, the catcher, in May of last year, do you know in the last 14 months, the Orioles have not been swept in a 3-game series?
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
There's a stat.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Marlins, first off, they blew a 5-0 lead. Then they blew an 8-7 lead going to the 9th. Cardinals scored 2 in the top of the 9th, and they're going to win until they decided to literally throw it away. First and second, 1 out in the 9th, a comebacker to the mound. He's got the easy throw to first. It's going to be 2 outs, runners on second and third. Except Jordan Hicks threw the ball down the right field line. Both Marlins base runners scored. Marlins win their 3rd in a row over the Cardinals, 10-9 the final. We're not even talking about how far back they are, the Braves, because, I mean, the race is over. But Atlanta won for the 10th time in 11 games. They scored 4 in the first. They beat Cleveland 8-1. They're 30 games above 500, by the way. Mets have won 4 in a row. What the heck? They, by the way, down to their last strike in Arizona. Down 1-0, 2 out, 2 strikes. Francisco Alvarez homers to tie it. They score 1 more, 2 in the 9th. They win it 2-1 over Arizona. Remember when the Padres were talking some trash over the weekend? The Angels and Ohtani were coming to town. And Juan Soto said, yeah, we're going to shut him down and we're going to shut them down. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? They're playing really well. They're a borderline playoff team, and you guys are like 6 games below 500. Yeah, the Padres completed a sweep of the Angels last night, 5-3. They held Ohtani hitless in the series. Oh, yeah, and Trout broke his wrist. He had surgery yesterday. He's out 4 to 8 weeks. So the Angels are not going to make the playoffs, and Ohtani's going to be playing somewhere else. At which point, Mike Trout's probably going to ask for a trade. And, of course, we all know he wants to go to Philadelphia. He lives in South Jersey. He's an Eagles season ticket holder. I'm just saying. Felipe, if Mike Trout were an NBA player, when the season was over, he would announce, I want to trade, and I'm only going to the Phillies.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be Dame right now with
exactly.
Mike. Yeah.
And I will sit home and wait until you guys work it out. And other teams will call and go, we've got more to offer. We can give you these young prospects. And Mike Trout would go, yeah, I don't care. I'm only going to play for the Phillies.
I'm going home.
Dodgers beat the Pirates 6-4. You combine that with Arizona's loss to the Mets, and LA's a game and a half back in the West. They have a bunch of injuries, though. They're going through a Rays phase right now with the pitching injuries and what have you. Dodgers' deepest system in baseball, though. They're indicating they're going to try to fill in the holes from within. I don't know. I don't trust them. I think they're $250 million payroll. My guess is they go out, spend a couple bucks. Giants shut out Seattle 2-0. They're tied for the final wild card spot with the Phillies. They're 3 back of the Diamondbacks. Red Sox doubled up Texas 4-2. Brian Bello, he's the guy who took the no-no into the 8th against the Marlins last week. He got the win, 7 strong innings. Justin Turner with 2 RBI singles in the win. You combine Texas's loss with Houston's 4th win in a row, and the Astros very quietly are just 2 back of the Rangers in the West. 6-4, Houston over Colorado. So in the 2nd inning, did you see this last night, Felipe? Ellie De La Cruz comes to the plate. He's got what they call a knob cover at the bottom of his bat. And what it does is that it keeps the separation between the hands and the knob of the bat. There's just like a There's something in between you. And you attach it to the bottom, the knob of the bat. It's a knob cover. And it's legal. Well, the Nats came out and they protested his bat, and they made the umpire take a look at it and this, that, and the other thing. So the next time Ellie De La Cruz came to the plate, he hit a 2-2 hanging curveball to, South Philly. And the game was in our nation's capital. And as the ball was in orbit and was leaving the District of Columbia, he turned and looked at the Nats dugout, okay, showed them the knob cover, and was basically like, you want to check it out again?
He pointed it. He went,
yeah.
Boop, boop.
Yep. And then took a, styling trip around the base paths.
Oh, yeah.
He took his time. And when he got to third and he was staring directly into the Nats dugout, he made sure to slow down, give it a little sachet before hopping on the bag. Now, there was a time in which the next time the young lad came up, he'd gotten drilled. But that time has come and gone. So,
that 21-year-old is on top of the baseball world right now.
Yeah, he's been up a month. He has 2 4-hit games. The Reds, by the way, they're now a 2-game lead in the division because Milwaukee put their all-star closer on the hill with a 3-1 lead, and he gave up 3 in the 9th to the Cubs.
I think you mean the Rally Reds.
4-3 Cubs over the Brewers. The Rally Reds with a 2-game lead in the Central over Milwaukee. Here's the funny thing. Cubs are in third. They're 5 games below 500, and they're the only team with a positive run differential in the division.
By the way, I have to bother you. I have to interrupt you really quick. Did you see the clip from the Taylor Swift concert in Cincinnati?
Yes.
The Bengals play. Where she's singing a slow song, and in the background, the Reds win a home game, and the fireworks are going off. It was just great.
Twins shut out the Royals 5-0. Their lead is 2 over the Guardians. Pablo Lopez with his first career shutout, a 4-hitter. Oakland 12-3 over Detroit. Yankees pitcher Jimmy Cordero, who's actually been a key part of their bullpen this year, suspended the rest of the season by Major League Baseball for violating their domestic violence policy. NBA news. So this NBA in-season tournament, that is all the commissioner's doing. This is Adam Silver's baby. The Final Four is going to be in Vegas in early December. Every team participates in this trophy, or tournament, I should say. 6 groups of 5. Everybody plays each other. You have a group champion and 2 wild cards advance, and then you have single elimination. So they're going to shut down the season, and then they're going to play this round-robin tournament, so to speak. It's all going to count. Yeah, we'll see.
First, second week of December, so not March Madness, but...
Well, it's actually, I think it starts late November. Everybody plays the 4 games, and then into early December, you'll have the quarters, the semis on December 7th, the finals on December 9th, semis and finals in Vegas. By the way, the Mavs and Celtics and Spurs, a little 3-team sign-and-trade deal yesterday. But a good young forward, Robert Williams, ends up in Dallas.
Robert Williams or Grant Williams?
I'm sorry, Grant Williams. 4 years, $53 million. Boston gets 2 second-round picks and a trade exception out of the deal. They couldn't afford to sign them because they have no cap room because of it's the second level of the NBA cap is now a hard cap. And if you go over it, it's very punitive. And so teams are staying below it. San Antonio had to acquire Reggie Bullock just to get to the salary cap floor. They also pick up a first-round pick swap. NFL news, Saints tight end Foster Moreau says his Hodgkin's lymphoma is in full remission. Well, that's an awesome story for the 29-year-old who just signed a 3-year deal, going back to close to home where he played his college ball. U.S. Women's Open begins today at Pebble Beach. Wimbledon, 4th-seeded American Jessica Pegula in action today. The top seed Swiatek advanced easily yesterday. On the men's side, Djokovic a winner in straight sets. Francis Tiafoe, the American, a winner. Tsitsipas, the 5 seed, He needed a 5th set tiebreaker to get through. Back to Djokovic for a minute. His win yesterday was his 350th in the majors. Roger Federer, Serena Williams, and Novak Djokovic, the 3 players all time who have won 350 or more matches in the 4 majors. That's a pretty good career right there. College football news, former Gators quarterback Jalen Kitna had his 5 felony child porn charges dropped. He pled to 2 misdemeanors. He's not going to serve any jail time. It's not because of that story, but there's a story that we talked about yesterday with the Gators and $400 million towards the swamp to refurbish it. Edgar Thompson of the Orlando Sentinel going to join us in about 45 minutes to talk about that. And so at 10 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I don't know about this whole in-season tournament thing.
Ooh, and let's be honest. Adam Silver was putting this sucker together. Do you think he was putting it together for you or for me? Because you're all in.
I think for ratings. So both of us?
Well, here's my thought. I actually think it's more for me. I think for whatever reason, he's trying to create some early season, I don't know, headlines, actually get people to pay attention to him before Christmas Day. Because if you think about it, Felipe, people pay attention to the NBA kind of the way they pay attention to Major League Baseball. Everybody's all in on opening day, and then within 48 hours, they wander. And then if their team's in it, they come back. There's a lot of basketball fans who are in it opening day, first 2 days, Turner, ESPN, and then 2 months later, it's like, oh, yeah, they're playing all these games on Christmas.
Well, yeah, because if your team's not in it in the NBA, you're not going to be televised. And it's like that for most leagues.
And so here it is. It's early in the season. No one's been eliminated yet. And so they put together this little in-season tournament. We'll see if it works. But this is Adam Silver's baby. There's no doubt about it. And so if you think about it, think about what he's done to the league here. He's added the play-in. Added the 9 and 10, the whole 7, 10, 8, 9, or 7, 8, 9, 10 matchup. I mean, the Heat just went to the finals, and technically they had to play their way into the playoffs. And now he's got this in-season tournament. And as DC points out in the Twitch chat room, this is kind of replicating the FA Cup in England.
The play-in, though, has more value to it because it's more of like it's like the wild card in baseball and in football.
I understand. But I'm just saying, think of the changes that Adam Silver is now making on the NBA. And he's negotiated a long-term CBA, which also, for the first time in a while, gives the team that has the star player a decided advantage in keeping the star player. And he's eliminated the soft cap and made it a pretty hard cap once you get to the second level of it. And so it's pretty punitive. So in theory, the Warriors spending $450 million on a team shouldn't happen anymore.
I just hope this doesn't turn into a disaster where it's like, oh, this in-season tournament doesn't mean anything. Let's just rest everyone.
Well, I actually think it has a better chance of being the other way. Oh, wow. So the guys are actually going to play in this? Huh, that's kind of cool. Now I can take the next month off. Miller and Moulton. Some major golf news that no one's talking about next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So did everything go okay yesterday? 9 o'clock hour?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love how the Marlins just had to get beat so bad over the weekend by the Braves that they worked so hard to get that run differential positive, then for it to just get shot down to negative, that they beat the Cardinals 15-1 and it's still -7.
Correct.
It's just ridiculous.
But it was how badly they got beaten in Atlanta.
Yeah, they had to get beaten that badly. Like just pounded.
Ambient. Disney made an announcement at the beginning of the year that over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, they're going to be laying off 7,000 people company-wide. So ESPN's not immune to that. Also, Disney, I think, has instructed ESPN to get ready to operate as your own separate entity. Whether that means they're going to sell it off or whether that means they're just going to say, well, listen, you need to survive on your own. So what's interesting is some of the people they've laid off still have multiple years left on their contract, and they will get paid. But it was done for Wall Street reasons. You know, they're supposedly laying these people off makes your bottom line look better. I don't understand how that works. Like Jeff Van Gundy still is getting paid for 2 more years. So laying him off, I don't understand. I mean, if you want to not re-sign him 2 years from now, that's one thing. But you're going to pay him to stay home? How does that make your bottom line look better?
Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Magic numbers are 51, 56, and 63. 7-week Saturday. Week 0 of the college football season kicks off, hence the 51. 8 weeks tonight, 56. Gators in action in Utah. UCF hosting Kent State. First game as a member of the Big 12. And 9 weeks tonight, Lions and Chiefs, hence the 63, for the kickoff of the NFL season. 51, 56, and 63. Rays have lost 4 in a row. Their lead is 5 in the East. Marlins have won 3 in a row against the Cards. They're still the best wild card team in the National League, 3rd best record in the league. How about that? So, we're going to transition here for one segment. I'm going to try to make this as, well, not awkward as possible. But I'm going to be doing this segment while also thumbing through a long Twitter thread. There's a reason for that. So the LIV guys are in England getting ready for an event in London. And that's why Phil Mickelson, when he sent this tweet out, it was only 3 hours ago. It's not like Phil, is tweeting it out in the early morning hours in the States. It's damn near lunchtime when Phil's tweeting this out. This thread, he says, is a long and accurate full truth, not half truth, of the LIV PGA Tour agreement if you're interested. Well done and thank you. He's thanking Bob Golf Ball on Twitter. Yeah, a financial guy in Portland, Oregon. See, there's these court documents that came to light late last week, which, by the way, the PGA Tour is seeking an injunction to make 355 of the 357 pages, okay, no longer eligible for the public to read. They're saying, no, this is proprietary material. We should be aware of this. But anyway, this Bob Golf Ball takes to Twitter, and he says, here's a message to the players of the PGA Tour. You're all in trouble and screwed if you don't support the framework agreement. He goes on to talk about, listen, the LIV guy's in charge. Okay? He's not going to run the day-to-day operations, but he is in charge. And it specifically says in the agreement that any new money that comes in, he's got veto power over what you're doing with it. So the PGA Tour may be running the day-to-day operation, but for a minute, do not think that the LIV guy is not in charge. Gives him right of first refusal on all new investment capital. Okay? The other thing that he says clear as day, PGA Tour financially can't survive without this capital. that if this agreement were to fall apart and the war would continue between the PGA Tour and the LIV, the PGA Tour would go bankrupt. Either that or they'd lose half their events. He said they're borrowing money like crazy to pay for the elevated events. And it's a long thread. Okay, it's Bob Golf Ball. His Twitter handle is Bob Ball PDX. And since he's a financial guy, he said, let me tell you what some of these terms mean. And he basically said, by the way, the mainstream golf media, they've got it all wrong. They've had it all wrong for a year. The other thing he said is he has no idea how Jay Monahan, he's like, so Monahan, who's been flying around in private jets and building lavish headquarter buildings, okay, and now the tour economics are upside down. And remember, first, he was the guy who told you that Mickelson was wrong and you guys couldn't be making all this money. And now you're getting paid all this money. Yet to do so, I'm running the business into the ground. Oh, yeah. And I invoked 9/11 and brought their families into the fight. And now I'm doing business with the Saudis. But he goes on to say that, yeah, look at the recent actions of the LIV guy, of the PIF guy. He's buddying around with Greg Norman. Norman was giving him a putting lesson 2 weeks ago on the putting green. It specifically says in the agreement, by the way, Jay Monahan of the PGA Tour, they can't shutter LIV unless this guy allows them to. Do you think this guy is going to allow them to? Apparently, LIV has a 10-year business plan, not expecting to make any money at all any one of those 10 years. And that what this guy says is that the PGA Tour is NASCAR. LIV is Formula One. They're thinking worldwide. They've put all this money into the Asian Tour. They are holding tournaments where the parts of the world where they're thriving for big-time golf. I mean, the crowds in Australia and New Zealand were huge for the LIV. Huge. South Africa is begging for an LIV event next year, and the rumor is they're going to get one. And that this guy's vision is, no, the PGA Tour and the LIV, they're going to run together. By the way, this guy also points out this whole European tour, the DP World Tour, he's like, yeah, it doesn't make a dime. He goes, if this agreement between the PGA Tour and the LIV were to go away, he basically says the DP World Tour would go bankrupt. It'd be done. Because the PGA Tour is going bankrupt themselves right now fighting the LIV. They're certainly not going to keep pumping money into the DP World Tour. So he says to the players, you are in deep trouble if you don't embrace the framework agreement and new leaders that are passionate about LIV and the PGA Tour surviving and thriving. It will be interesting to see if Jimmy Dunn, he's Monahan's business guy. He's the guy who negotiated the deal, can dance the Potomac two-step coming up. Health aside, Monahan surely couldn't. Okay. And as a world-class athlete, this guy wraps up his rather long thread by saying, are you PGA Tour players really going to leave your fate in the people that manipulated and lied to you?
Wow.
He goes, listen, I'm pro PGA Tour. He said, but as a business guy, I saw what LIV was trying to do over a year ago. It's Tuesday of next week that the Senate subcommittee, Norman, the head Saudi money guy, the PIF guy, and it's supposed to be Jay Monahan. He's been missing in action now. Supposedly he has a health issue. We'll see. But worth reading about. I will say the power of the internet, the power of Twitter is in full display in recent days. It was not the mainstream media or the mainstream golf media that uncovered the documents. Tiger Woods has released one 35-word statement in the month plus since the PGA Tour announced they were forming an alliance with the LIV. Did he make that 35-word statement in response to that announcement? No. Did he make that 35-word statement to counter what any member of the media had said or any golfer had said? No. He countered it because some guy surfing the internet found the court documents, the 357 pages, and apparently included in the 357 pages was a meeting last summer before the Travelers in which Tiger was going to be given a script as to what he was supposed to say about the LIV. And Tiger released a statement saying, yeah, I wasn't at that meeting. I don't know anything about this. That's the only thing. Tiger responded to a guy surfing the internet going through court documents. Otherwise, he has not said a word about this. But he felt compelled over the 4th of July weekend to release a statement about what a guy surfing the internet found out about this. By the way, pretty indicting stuff for Monahan and the PGA Tour is what he found. And I'm guessing some researcher for some senator on that subcommittee was able to get a hold of this information, and some interesting questions will be asked about it on Tuesday. I'll say it again. C-SPAN should have at least 100 or so people watching who normally don't watch on Tuesday, because I would think if you're on the PGA Tour, you're a former PGA Tour player, you have to watch the Senate subcommittee because it's your first opportunity to get answers. Unless you want to reach out to the guy who's surfing the internet and Bob the blogger out in Portland.
Has the PGA ever seen an attack like this?
No.
They are being attacked right now.
Well, in 69, Arnie and Jack got together and said, yeah, the way this tour is run is ridiculous. We're kind of like baseball players in the 50s. We need summer jobs or winter jobs in this case because we can barely earn a living out here. And so they reconfigured the PGA Tour, basically said to the PGA Tour, you have two choices. Either we'll form our own tour and do it our way, or you can go with our changes. And the PGA Tour said, yeah, we'll stick with Arnie and Jack. And that's basically the foundation of the tour that we have today. And now here's the LIV, which is clearly saying, we don't want to put the PGA Tour out of business, but we want to be a valid world golf tour. And if you guys just want to worry about the states, that's cool. We want to do Southeast Asia. We want to do Australia, New Zealand, little Europe, little South Africa, little South America. What's wrong with it? And by the way, you don't have to have all your tournaments be big money events on the PGA Tour. We'll handle that over here. But why can't guys play both? It's golf after all. When guys go travel on business, they bring their clubs, right? And, so you play 15, 18 tournaments on PGA Tour. Can't play 6 tournaments on the LIV? What's wrong with that? By the way, the LIV really pushing this team golf. That's what this Bob guy from Portland's also saying. They're like, listen, worldwide, this is a winner. This is cricket. This is a bunch of other sports worldwide. I know that you don't see it in the States, but they are pushing the hell out of this. And since they're the money, they're going to get what they want.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wow. I forget that Pablo Lopez is on the Twins.
So you got to rise.
Yeah. What a trade that was. Hey, not that anyone cares, but Keegan Murray scored 41 points last night in the Summer League game against the Heat.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did you just bring up stats from an NBA Summer League game?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. Good.
Oh,
that would be, are you going to bring up stats from NFL preseason? By the way, that's at least guys on NFL teams playing against guys on other NFL teams. This is Summer League when virtually nobody on the court is actually going to be on an NBA roster.
I do like Summer League, though, because the rookies and the sophomores.
I say this as affectionately as I can, and I mean this. You are such an NBA whore. Honestly, you swim. The pool of your apartment is an entire NBA pool. It's nothing but a deep end. Okay, honestly, there's no shallow end for you. You are so
above my.
Oh God, I don't even know if there's a diving board because one's not necessary for you.
Above my bed frame in my room is the famous Last Dance shot in Utah, and it's like. I bought the poster at the bookstore at FGCU like 5 years ago. Like the whole image is black and white except for Jordan and the ball.
It's why I send you all the NBA stuff that I send you. I'm telling you, you need to work for the Heat, the Magic, or the NBA. You need to figure it out.
Well, then I'm leaving you guys then.
That's okay.
Bye.
It's all right. There is nothing because your passion for that league.
No, I
or you know what? Be a producer for NBA radio then. Although let me tell you, I challenge you to work with Frank Isola on a regular basis.
I don't even know what that means.
He's co-host of their morning show. He's also on like PTI all the time.
But like, what do you mean by that?
No, I mean Frank is admittedly not easy to work with, but I mean, God, you love this league.
I mean, it makes sense though, right? Like where I grew up in the era that I grew up in, it makes sense. I mean, that's like telling a kid.
No, but like, isn't the summer league like comparable to spring football? And there's virtually no NFL fans that like spring football. And yet NBA fans love summer league. I mean, for goodness sakes, Wembayama's debut here, they sold out a 17,500 seat arena.
That is exactly why it's not comparable to spring football.
No, I'm talking about the talent on the court.
There is a little bit worth of hype towards summer league. I mean, it's the first taste. We're about to get our first taste of we already have gotten our first taste of Brandon Miller, and it has been awful. He has 15 fouls in 2 games. And I know you're asking, how's that possible? He had 8 fouls last night in his summer league game. Because I guess you can't foul out in summer league.
Do you have both Marlins calls?
I have the Marlins radio call and then the
Cardinals TV,
the Chip Carey call.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
"21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Mark is off until Monday. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Young Felipe and I rating his love of the NBA during the commercial break on Twitter. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it is 74. I listen, honest to goodness, Felipe, how many NBA jobs have I forwarded to you in the year and a half plus that you've worked for us?
Oh, it's nearing double digits. I'll tell you that.
Just anything about the Magic, the Heat, the NBA, anything.
You realize this would mean I'd leave you.
Correct. Okay, but I know your love for it, see? And you should it's the old adage, if your job is what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And listen, since your hours are going to suck and your money's going to suck, you might as well thoroughly enjoy what it is you're doing. Okay? So I hope the young lady in your life, that she's going to be very profitable, because you've decided to get into the sports media business. And well, you ain't going to make squat. Okay? You're going to be happy. Okay? But you ain't going to make squat. Listen, earlier in the show, we were talking a little baseball. And I just a question. I threw it out there casually, but I'm serious. So, Rays fan, are you worried? Do you think you can get this horse into the barn? And by horse into the barn, I mean win the American League East without some reinforcements? Or do you think, no, actually, we've gone about as long as we can with this horse. Okay, we need some more fuel here.
Is this series against the Braves almost an indication of
no
how their season will end up?
No. I don't believe that coming up at all. And even if they win 2 out of 3 from the Braves, no.
You don't think if they sweep the Braves, it's like, oh, they're good.
Well, they're good if they get swept by the Braves. Okay, I'm just talking about, you look at their rotation right now. McClanahan on the IL. All right, they've had 2 other starters that they've had to put on the IL this year. You know, do you think they have enough starting pitching, or do you think they need one more starting arm? We all know they don't have enough in the bullpen. They don't. They have a lot of young power arms, but they're not striking out the guys at the rate that other bullpens do. And when you get in a tight spot, runners in scoring position with no or 1 outs, what do you need? You need a strikeout, not a reliever who has the ball put in play. That's how runs are scored. And the Rays bullpen has been faulty of late. For a stretch here, and we're not talking a week and a half. So, I think the Rays need to make some deals. And I think they need to trade from within the depth of their system. I think, by the way, the Dodgers need to also, even though they're just a game and a half back in the West. I mean, because the Dodgers are trying to win a World Series. The Dodgers can't beat the Braves right now. Their pitching's not good enough. They got too many guys hurt. I hope they'll have Kershaw come October, but, you know, he's older. His body breaks down occasionally during the season. It's just broken down again. He's on the IL. Even though before that, he was the best pitcher in the National League, you could argue. Same with McClanahan, by the way, who all of a sudden, he's got back tightness, and he's on the 15-day IL. Even though before that, he was the best pitcher in the American League. Now, I don't expect a major deal. Like, I don't expect the Rays to go take Shane Bieber off the Guardians' hands, who has a year and a half left before free agency. I mean, if you're a team and you've got the resources and you want to go get a dude, that's the dude.
Better have the resources, though.
Well, but the Dodgers have the deepest system in baseball, and the Rays have one of the 5 deepest systems in baseball. I mean, they both got the dudes. It's just a matter of, do you want to spend it? The Orioles have the most elite prospects of any organization in baseball. Half of them have been called up already, but there's 4 or 5 more that are on the precipice that apparently are all starting caliber players, either pitchers or position players. Now, if you're the Orioles, you haven't made any moves in the last 2 years. You've just promoted from within, and you've started winning games. You going to keep on keeping on? Or are you actually to the point now where you go, you know, maybe we should trade a little bit, spend just a little bit, because, you know, this sucker's winnable. Remember, you know, we've been talking all year about did the Twins keep the Guardians and others around in the Central and not put them away. Well, the Yankees have been getting all this done without Judge. And with a whole other bunch of guys that they're spending a ton of money on who have sucked, like Stanton, you know, to some degree, even Rizzo, okay, Donaldson, goodness knows, LeMahieu. I mean, the Yankees bullpen and some of their young everyday players are keeping this team afloat. What if the Yankees get Judge healthy by the end of the month and they're within a half a dozen games? Remember, they've got the resources to go make a major deal. Just wondering. For that matter, by the way, if you're the Marlins, and I know the bullpen's had a couple moments lately. The bullpen's been really good this year. I don't know if the starting pitching has been amazing for 2 months now. Can it keep it up? Not sure. But if I'm the Marlins, I need a third baseman. Can you call the Red Sox about Justin Turner? I know the Nats got a guy and he's pretty good and he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year and he's a lot cheaper. But can you call the Red Sox about Justin Turner, who's got this year and next on a contract and is a stud and a proven stud in October, not just April through September? I mean, Felipe, to me, that's showing that you're serious. You call the Red Sox about Justin Turner, you're serious. I'm just saying. Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Felipe, I'd recommend the Marlins, but it's up to you.
Speaking of the Marlins, I think that's exactly where we're going to go. You know, I think Jordan Hicks needs a hug after what he did because he just amped the game away.
The count is 1-2 to Joey Wendell, bottom of the 9th inning. There goes Hampson. The pitch is dribbled towards Hicks. He's got it. He's going to throw it to first. He threw it away. Hampson's going to score. Going towards third, Gurriel. He's going to try to score. He's going to score. The Marlins just walked off the Cardinals in the bottom of the 9th inning. An error from Jordan Hicks. Oh, my goodness. They've done it again. They have done it again. The Marlins win it. 10-9.
Just when you thought you saw everything, you just
Kyle Seeloff, Marlins Radio on the call. I also have Chip Carey of Bally Sports Midwest the Cardinals' call of the tragic play.
Now his 1-2 pitch. Runners take off. Little tapper in front of the mound. The runners will advance. Double clutch, and he threw it away. Down the line. 1 run scores. Gurriel around third. He's going to score, and the Marlins walk off. Unbelievable. In a season where the Cardinals have found so many ways to win, this might be the biggest dagger and the worst way possible to lose. A comebacker with 1 out. Hicks fields the double clutch, and he airmailed it to first. And the Marlins clear the bases and walk off and stun the Cardinals.
I mean, that is just a tragic way to lose the game. I almost want to feel bad for him, but I don't care.
That's a pro, by the way, Chip Carey. When you're the visiting TV guy and you give that play,
yes,
that call. That's
yes.
a pro, and that is the value of inflection. All right. When you all of a sudden he's calling it normally, and then the voice goes, double clutch. He airmails it. Chip Carey and Marlins Radio with the Marlins' dramatic win. Edgar Thompson is next.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That is one thing that we can agree on. I really hate it when road commentators just make it all about themselves and all about their team. Like, you still have to commentate a game.
Well, and St. Louis is a great baseball city in which they've had legendary baseball broadcasters. I mean, you got to do a straight call in St. Louis. Love the inflection. Double clutch. He throws it down the line.
That home run that De La Cruz hit went 455 feet.
I will say it was a hanger, though. It was a 2-2 slider that was more a slurve than a slider. But yes. Was that official yesterday, Adam? Days of Thunder 2? It's been rumored for a while.
Mm-hmm. 15 seconds.
Ooh.
Colin Edgar.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Mark is off until Monday. Felipe holding down the fort in our Southwest Florida home base. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Coming up after the top of the hour, we did not get into it yesterday, our first show back from the holiday break. The ESPN layoffs. Who, why, what does it mean? I'll throw in my 2 cents and who may be next coming up. Edgar Thompson, kind enough to join us. He covers the Gators for the Orlando Sentinel. You can follow him on Twitter at OS Gators. OS Gators. Edgar, it's David. Hope you had a nice 4th holiday. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Good to finally catch up with you. I know sometimes we miss fire a little bit, but our schedules don't always align. I'm glad they did today.
Well, listen, I'm certainly understanding. We're both working for a living, so it happens. Listen, before I get to your beat, how about if I just get to your paper's home base for a second? You've obviously...
I'm in Gainesville.
No. I said your paper's home base, though. You've obviously watched the UCF thing from afar for a while now. Okay, what do you think going forward? the significance. Obviously, Gus made his comments, Big Four, blah, blah, blah. But just your thoughts on going forward now. How different do you think this is going to be for them?
I mean, I think it's monumental to get in a conference, the Power 5 conference for UCF. It's been playing at that level, it feels, for several years now. Going back to the year it beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl, was it 17 and went unbeaten?
Mm-hmm.
And after false claim of the national championship. I mean, it's been a pretty sturdy program since then. But I got to say, whenever I flip on those games, they don't feel as big time as when you're flipping on a Big 10 game or a Big 12 game or a SEC game. Just the vibe.
Right.
You know what I mean? When they're playing like Memphis or whoever, Cincinnati even, good teams, programs, the vibe isn't there. Let's see if it is now. It should be. There's just something about playing. It just says bigger level schools, bigger stadiums. The whole thing just feels bigger. And let's see if they can, make that step up. The Gators and UCF are playing in 2024, and that's a game a lot of people have wanted. The 2021 Gasparilla Bowl didn't really mean a thing. I mean, there was an interim coach and no juice in that game for the Gators. But, that was the situation, I believe, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And UCF has already announced.
So now that's going to be a huge one right there. We're to gauge both those programs. I mean, look, Billy's program has got a long way to go, and Gus has got something going. I think Gus Malzahn's an incredible coach. Always has. Always thought he's one of the best offensive minds out there. So I think they're in good shape, man. I think it's a good time to, be a UCF fan. And it's good for our newspaper to have that team right there. We get exclusivity with it.
Absolutely. Edgar Thompson of the Orlando Sentinel. He covers the Gators. He's based in Gainesville. Follow Edgar on Twitter, OS Gators, OS Gators. One other UCF note, they've announced 3 sellouts so far for their Big Ten schedule. They already have 3 of their Big 12 games that are sold out. To the Gators now. What can you tell us about the $400 million that they need to renovate Ben Hill Griffin? Is this for bigger concourses, better internet, more bathrooms, or is this something more serious?
I can tell you it's going to be a lot more than $400 million, first off. That was the most conservative figure. I was a little surprised at how low the price tag they put was. I was told minimum 5, easily going to be $750 if they really do it the way they want. They want to gut the place. They want a new swamp. It's going to be tricky because one of the things about the swamp, David, Mark Long and I do a podcast, and we talked about this the other day. Not trying to plug that, but we do. We were talking about the history of it, and it's something that I don't think everybody realizes. And I remember talking to Norm Carlson, the old SID here, former SID here, who knows all the history. When they built Florida Field in 1930, they didn't build it around a track. And if you think to like a lot of these stadiums, these old ones, look at the Rose Bowl, how far the stands are from the field. Well, because track and field was a huge sport then. Bigger in college football, probably in the 20s and 30s, right? Certainly, football was growing then. It wasn't a huge deal. So Florida Field's built right on the edge of the field. If you've been there and seen, or listeners have been there, then they built from there, and everything goes vertically, and the acoustics are phenomenal. Yep. The intimidation factor and the noise is something to behold. They can't lose that aspect. And I think Scott Strickland is determined to keep the mystique of the swamp and all that, but that acoustical value is something, because they're going to reduce seating significantly. They're going to put better seats in. It's going to be opening up the concourse, expanding the thing, giving it, some air. Scott wants it where you can walk that entire concourse and never not see the field. It's very ambitious. I like that feeling. I mean, obviously it's going to be the restrooms and everything will be touched and improved and redone. So,
well, Edgar,
project.
Have they thought about just building a new stadium? Because if you start gutting an old one,
Yeah.
first off, we all know when we try to gut our house, okay, and you start, encompassing problems and what have you, and at some point you actually turn, you look around, you go, we might have been better off just either building a new one or buying a new one. I mean, if you're going to get to 750 million, you're not that far away from $1 billion. Well, the hell, now you're getting close to we could just build a new one.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to get a phone call saying, "Where'd you get that figure?" Is speculating on my part. I definitely know 400 million is highly conservative figure. Okay, maybe it could be 600, but it could double. You don't know what they're going to end up finding and doing. One thing they have too, David, they have 180,000 square feet of office space for all the, sports information people, ADs, all the administration and staff is in that building. They're going to get rid of some of that office and move people and do things to give more space for fans and move concourses back and do all that stuff. So this is going to be an extremely ambitious project. They don't want to raise the stadium. They were looking at like upwards of 20 different locations, including the golf course at the corner of 34th and 2nd, which might have made for a little bit easier traffic flow, but gotten rid of the golf course, which I don't want. I'm a big golfer and I love the course, but they and I'm sure the neighbors over there in this beautiful neighborhood don't want that either. But they were looking at every option they could, and here they decided ultimately to build on the grounds of the swamp and do it in phases, because they would really hurt businesses and the whole kind of weekend, financial boon that these places experience. The whole town is consumed with Gator football for 6 or 7 weekends a year, and it's a massive financial windfall that they would be taken away for 2 years, you got to think.
Well, and I was just going to ask you, so what's the 2-year time frame? Could the joke be that the Jags could play in Gainesville, and then as soon as they get their place built, the Gators could play in Jacksonville? I mean, what 2 years are we talking about here?
No one knows. Somebody was speculating to me the other day they might open it. Now, this isn't, when I say someone, it's like a fan. It was actually a podcast listener texting me, "Hey, I heard the pod." His take was they're going to have it open on the 100-year anniversary, which would be 2030. That sure seems like a long time away. I was saying the other day, I'm like, I sure hope I'm still even working, by the time that they open this place. David Whitley works at Gainesville Sun. I saw him yesterday. He's 62. He's like, I'm not ever covering a game at that new facility, probably. So that's going to be a long time. It's going to be 5 years from now, I think, maybe more.
Edgar Thompson.
So I don't know.
Orlando Sentinel. Okay, covers the Gators for a living. Follow him on Twitter, OS Gators, OS Gators. All right, we got a handful of minutes here. Here's my concern. I actually think Billy's doing it the right way. I actually think the roster was in much worse shape than they let on. I think it's in evidence now. The problem is they don't have a competent quarterback, in my opinion, for this year. So I don't know how many games with that schedule they can win. Then even if they're much better next year, well, heck, they're going to play 11 Power 5 games. I mean, the 2024 schedule is going to be one of the toughest in the country. I'm not sure Billy has his breakthrough season to 2025. A, do you agree with some of what I'm thinking? And B, do you think everybody can just wait till 2025 if that's the case?
I wholeheartedly agree, and I don't think for a minute that people are going to be patient. They're just not in Florida and major SEC programs, just major programs, blue bloods, whatever you want to call them. Somebody was like, Florida blue blood. Look, Florida's still a top 10 brand probably a top 10 football program, certainly a top 10 overall athletic program. It's a major entity with a lot of reach and a huge fan base. And they have expectations, and rightly so. Look at it. Look at the last 30 years or more of tradition here. The investment, being in the SEC, the teams they play, the rivals and what their success levels have been. I mean, Georgia's won back-to-back national titles, trying to become the first team in the AP poll era to win 3 in a row this year, Georgia, and could very well do it. So Florida's looking at all that and wants it now. I don't want to wait till 2025. But the reality is, Billy did inherit a roster. I did a story on recruiting the other day because Billy's really doing pretty well with the recruiting. He's been aggressive and effective, and he's addressing areas, interior line, inside linebackers, things like that, point of attack guys that really Florida did not have many of, and certainly not a lot of quality ones. And you need depth and talent at those positions to survive in this league and to win. And Dan Mullen's 2019 class is rated 9th, David. It had 1 defensive tackle, and the guy never played. The next year, they had 3 defensive tackles and no inside linebackers, and only one of them, Javon Dexter, did anything. So the fact is, you look at that alone, and you're like, you can't win with that. So, and he wasn't able to, and the defenses have been getting run over for a few years now at Florida, and that's just one issue Billy inherited and is dealing with. And to Graham Mertz, the quarterback, the Wisconsin transfer, I agree. He's going to have to really elevate his game from what he did at Wisconsin. He was inconsistent. He had a 19-12 record, 38 touchdowns, 26 picks. Those numbers are not anything special at all. Average as average can be, and they can't have average at quarterback here in the SEC. So it's going to be tough. And then next year, DJ Lagway is a 5-star quarterback, but he's going to be a first-year freshman against a brutal schedule, as you pointed out. So it's going to be tough sledding. But 2025 is the year, I think, a fair evaluation of Billy Napier can be made, where you're like, where's this program now? If they're not contending by then for a college football playoff spot, which will be 12 of them by then you got to go, okay, is this working or not? But are fans going to wait that long? I mean, the rational ones will, but are fans rational? Usually not.
Edgar Thompson, covering the Gators for the Orlando Sentinel. Follow him on Twitter, OS Gators, OS Gators. Edgar, thanks so much for making time for us. All the best. I won't bother you for a month, I promise. When practice gets underway, then I'll start bothering you. Thanks,
you can
Edgar.
Hit me up anytime. Camp starts July 30th. Hit me up. We'll talk.
All right. Will do. I'll hold you to it. Edgar Thompson, Orlando Sentinel, OS Gators on Twitter. Kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. I believe, by the way, Gator Nation going to be restless, but they're going to have no choice because they ain't going to have the money to start over with somebody else. They're going to be raising all this money for the stadium. Billy's buyout's going to be $30+ million, and you're going to get rid of him right when it's on the precipice of seeing what it is he's brought in town. Patience. I know you don't have it, but you're going to need to find it. Miller and Moulton.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Adam, your roster sucked. He inherited a terrible roster. Okay. The one thing I will put on Billy Napier, he should have had a better quarterback for this year. All right. He and their NIL department screwed that up. There's no way some of the kids who were in the transfer portal, they should not have gotten. I mean, that kid from Louisiana who he recruited heavily, who was third string at LSU, who transferred and went to Ole Miss. I mean, come on. Florida should have gotten him. Oh, baby.
$20 seconds.
Gator Dad, that's true. But once he realized late in the season that he wasn't, they should have been able to do better in the quarterback transfer market than they did.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third hour of Miller and Moulton, the final one along the network. Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Thanks so much for being with us, especially in the 239, our home base for many a year. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Mark will be back on Monday. Felipe holding down the fort. Something we did not get into yesterday, young man, that I do want your 2 cents about. It was beginning to happen as we were ending our Friday show, the ESPN layoffs. And it ended up being, the reports that were out there was it was going to be 20 frontline names. I think the final list is closer to 15. Obviously, some big ones. The one that's in your backyard, because your backyard's the NBA. Your thoughts on Jeff Van Gundy being let go?
I am very disappointed by that. I think Jeff Van Gundy, and it's funny that I say that because earlier we were talking about Miami fans' hatred for New York.
Right.
He is that. But I feel like ESPN is laying off the realist people that they have. Jeff Van Gundy is a realist. That's all he did on all of his broadcasts.
What's interesting to me is he has 2 years left on his contract. I mean, he's going to get paid. I mean, this reminds me of when CBS had a chance to hire Nick Faldo. They literally had just signed Lanny Watkins to a 5-year contract extension. He never worked a day of it. Lanny stayed home and got paid for 5 years. Now, he could have taken a job doing Champions Tour golf and it would have cut into his money. He said, no, I want CBS to pay me the full amount. So he stayed home for 5 years and got paid by CBS. Jeff Van Gundy is going to get paid for the next 2 years from ESPN. Now, if by chance Turner or an individual team offers him a gig and he wants to accept it, my guess is he'll then have to negotiate with ESPN. And what will probably happen is whatever the team was offering him, they'll deduct that from his ESPN salary and he'll basically end up working for the same amount of money that he would have made if he sat home.
Do you think he'll ever coach again?
No. Here's what I do think will happen, though. I don't know if he'll work in the next 2 years. Maybe Turner finds him some gigs. Maybe they want to put the Van Gundy brothers together occasionally. All right. But I have to admit, that's kind of like, do we want a Van Gundy cast? Like a Manning cast? Do we want that?
Do we care that much about the Van Gundys?
Yeah, I don't think we do. I mean, neither one won a title. Each took one team to the finals. I don't know that we do. All right. I think Jeff Van Gundy's outstanding at his job. Outstanding. Okay. But I like analysts that are critical. Most people don't. You guys want propaganda. You do. You just want your analysts to say nothing but good things about your team. That's all. And I'm sorry, it's true. 80% of you fall into that category. You do.
And he would always seem to say what the audience was thinking.
Well, not necessarily, but what you resonated with him. You were thinking it. Oftentimes I was thinking it. Okay. But I'm telling you, most fans do not watch games critically. They don't want their analysts to be critical. They don't. They're not the most popular analysts. If so, Chris Collinsworth would be very popular. He's very popular with NBC, not necessarily with NFL fans. Kirk Herbstreit is very popular. Why? It's really difficult to get Kirk Herbstreit to say a bad thing about anyone or anything. That's why the 3 times a year he does, it makes news. Like when he called out the Canes 3 years ago and said, you guys are not serious about college football. You're not committed to it. It made national headlines. Kirk Herbstreit doesn't say those things out loud. And he did on game day. It made news. Guess what happened? Miami got serious about college football. The Gino Torettas of the world, who have been saying it for 20 years, stood up and went, told you, we're right. You guys going to listen to us now? And they got a new AD and a new football coach, and they're committed. We'll see if they can win, but at least they're all in.
Right. I was going to say, as far as Herbstreit's statement,
Yeah, they were not serious. Now, financially, they are. Dan Radakovich is a serious AD. All right. This head coach, Mario Cristobal, is a serious head coach. He can recruit. He can sell ice to the Eskimos. That's what you need to win. But Steve Young, Max Kellerman, Matt Hasselbeck, Todd McShay, David Pollack, Neil Everett, Jalen Rose, Keyshawn Johnson, Gene Wojciechowski came out over the weekend and said, Friday was my last day. And I've had a few people reach out because they know I now do some work for ESPN because I work with Joe and Troy in the Monday Night Football booth. And a couple of things. First off, Pat McAfee took a lot of grief on Friday because all these people were losing their jobs and they're signing Pat McAfee to $18 million a year. Pat McAfee is going to make ESPN money. How many people who work at ESPN you think generate revenue for ESPN? I mean, for as much as you and I like Jeff Van Gundy, do we think ESPN makes money off Jeff Van Gundy? Or do you think if they replace Jeff Van Gundy with even people that you don't like as much, do you think that's going to affect advertising sales? Do you think it's going to affect ratings?
not unless they replace him with the right guy. For example, I could see JJ Redick filling in that role.
What if it's Doris Burke? Are you not going to watch? Okay,
No.
you like some people.
A lot of people would not watch though. That is true.
Really. Oh,
they're
really.
And I hate it. I disagree with it because I think Doris Burke is
really
a broadcasting Hall of Famer in my eyes. But there are a lot of people who hear and see that and they're like, I'm turned off.
Really? So you're not going to watch the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals because there's a broadcaster on it you don't like. No offense, I've seen the evidence. That's not the case. You may mute it. You may turn it down lower than you normally do. You may not enjoy it as much, but if it's a game that you want to watch, you guys don't care who the announcers are. That's why when Joe and Troy and Tony Romo and when a few guys have gotten paid here recently, it's as big a deal as it is. Because if anything we've seen, the value of the announcers has been downgraded by networks for the last 10, 15 years. But a few people have gotten paid really big bucks. Pat McAfee, because the show's going to be on ESPN Plus and the advertising that he's going to bring with it, trust me, ESPN's going to make money on Pat McAfee. They will. Now, you may not be interested, and you may shake your head and go, how could that be? I'm telling you, ESPN will make money on Pat McAfee. That was a business decision as much as – and you know what that also was? That was a decision to try to go find the Felipes of the world. Pat McAfee gets people 18 to 34 to watch and listen to him. Do you know what the one thing that's missing almost entirely from television sports ratings in the last 5 to 10 years? People under the age of 35 watching it. It's actually a black hole. It's actually alarming if the people who are currently 18 and 34 and are not watching sports 10 and 15 years from now continue to not watch sports. And now they're 35 to 49. All right. And believe me, even the NFL is concerned about the lack of people under the age of 30 watching their product. So and you may be driving around right now going, well, hell, I don't know anybody under 30 that's not watching. I'm telling you, the numbers say differently.
So is that a contributing factor to these layoffs? Is it ESPN trying to gear themselves towards a younger audience?
In McAfee's case, it was, but also McAfee was a business decision. Listen, this is really simple. Disney said 6+ months ago that 7,000 people need to lose their job in the next 18 months who work for Disney. Now, that's not 7,000 people at ESPN. That's 7,000 people at Disney. But ESPN's part of Disney. Here's the other thing that's going on. The word is in the next 3 years, Disney's going to have to operate by itself. It's going to have to be self-sufficient and then some. And there have been rumors about Disney selling ESPN for a long time. So that's why they made some cuts. And in a lot of cases, they cut the people that make the most money.
What surprised me, you were going to say Stephen A, weren't you?
Well, Stephen A came out the other day and said, believe me, I could be next.
Yes.
Now, I don't believe that's the case for this reason. I think ESPN believes they make money off Stephen A and he moves the needle. But there are very few people under that building that move the needle. Like if I was Mike Greenberg, I'd be concerned. I don't think you could think as highly of Mike Greenberg as you want. I don't think he moves the needle. I think they could replace him as NBA host and, whatever that show is, 10 to noon and whatever. Honestly, I think it's 17 less people would watch.
You mean his show that he never appears on?
Well, that's the radio show, but yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, but back to like Joe and Troy. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and go, hey, are you worried about Joe and Troy? And I'll try to make this quick because we have limited time. No. And here's why. First off, nothing rules like the NFL. Second, I'll let you in a little behind the curtain. We had a production meeting the Sunday of Wild Card weekend. We were doing the Monday night game, Tampa Bay and Dallas in Tampa. Turned out to be Brady's last game. The production meeting began with the producer thanking Joe and Troy for providing us with the Tampa Bay Dallas game. And when everybody looked around, he said, I've been here X number of years. Do you know what game we normally get? Wild Card weekend. And he rattled off like the last 5-6 games they've had. And he goes, we've got the Dallas Cowboys against Tom Brady. He goes, and do you know why we have that game? Those two guys sitting right there. We don't get that game without them. Now, I could then tell you how much more money they can charge per commercial because they have the Dallas-Tampa Bay game versus the Jacksonville-LA Chargers game. All right. And I'll just conservatively say it was worth an extra $10 million. Well, that's over half of Troy's salary, just that one game. I could also tell you that selling Joe and Troy before the season, as opposed to Steve Levy and Louis Riddick, and how much extra money they charged per spot, and probably tell you that that paid the rest of Troy's salary. Never mind the fact that the NFL specifically said to ABC, ESPN, improve your booth or we're not going to give you a Super Bowl.
And boy, did they. Untouchables.
So, no, I'm not worried about Joe and Troy. And that's the hard business decisions that ESPN's making right now. 3 guys, along with Pat McAfee, that are all making between 15 and 18 million a year, and everybody's jumping up and down and going crazy. And yet all 3 of them, trust me, are making that network money in one form or another. They're not the ones to be concerned about. It's the Sports Center anchor who's replaceable. That's the one to be worried about. Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, here's the thing, Mr. Boutte, about Scott Van Pelt. His contract, I think, has only got like 2 years left, year and a half, 2 years. He did an interview last month in which he said, I don't see myself doing this in 3 years. Yeah, they did boot Neil Everett. They tried to make it sound as if, you know, he was leaving after 23 years. But what does a 60-year-old guy do, quite frankly, who just got married? So now, will they try to keep Scott and have him do something else? You know, maybe ESPN gets more into the golf business and his love of golf, but yeah, KW, I'm telling you. Now, you know, I have a conversation with a buddy of mine in which he's a few years older than me. Now, we both grew up baseball fans, but he made the argument that even if you don't grow up a baseball fan, just like a lot of people grow up not playing golf, they get into middle age, and what do? They take up golf because there's social circle, there's golfers and this, that, and the other thing, and they want, you know, to do things with their friends, blah, blah, blah. Adam, the NFL Network had big layoffs at the end of last season. The NFL does not want to spend any money on a product that's losing money. The NFL Network is not profitable. They've been trying to sell it for years. So, like, if you're the sports world, will people approaching 40 just start watching sports even if they didn't watch it when they were 20 because they're getting older? They're spending more time at home with their kids, and what else are they going to watch? And like, that's his argument to me. How many people at between 40 and 50 end up taking golf or watching baseball, even though they didn't play it or watch it 20 years earlier? Because you transition in life and that's what you do. I don't know.
You know what I was thinking about? Say Stephen A. does get laid off by ESPN. If he and Skip reunite on Undisputed, that could make a lot of money. And it's not my preferred way of taking in sports, but I mean,
I don't know how anybody watches Skip.
I don't want. I mean, I did not watch Undisputed, but I'm with you. 10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark is off until Monday. Felipe and I holding down the fort. Text the show, 21,000. Felipe races over in between commercial breaks. Checks out some of what you say. Hopefully you're, not criticizing us too badly. I don't want him weeping, when we come back on air. I want him to be able to keep a stiff upper lip. All right. You can always comment in the Twitch chat room, the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. I've got them right in front of me. So we were talking about the ESPN layoffs last break. And I'm curious, is there an announcer out there for you that when you hear them, you just, no, I'm done? Also, is there like somebody that ESPN got rid of in which you're like, well, I'm not going to watch that show anymore? Like when Jay Billis took over for Dick Vitale, no, they didn't get rid of Dickie V. They just moved him down to the B team. But Jay Billis became the number one college basketball analyst, I'd say around 2015 or so. And you could tell that by who got the North Carolina Duke game. When Jay Billis started getting that game with, I think, Dan Schulman, you realized, that's the A team. Because that's the highest rated college basketball games that ESPN does. Quick sidebar. I'm convinced, by the way, if the ACC approached ESPN and said, listen, we'd like to go to another network. We don't like this TV deal. This is really hurting us. This could lead to the demise of this conference. And I know you started an ACC network and all that. We really appreciate it. But, we want out. I actually think that ESPN would be fine with it. They would try to negotiate 3 football games and 2 basketball games a year. We'll let you out, but we get both Carolina Duke basketball games. Honestly, I think ESPN would walk because they got so much SEC programming they're now committed to. If you're an ACC fan, you've known this in recent years. Where the hell your game is going to air? I mean, seriously, beginning next year, when ESPN's the exclusive SEC provider, you really think Greg Sankey's going to be okay with Clemson getting the 3:30 time slot over an SEC game? You don't think that phone's going to ring going, I'm sorry, what the hell are you doing? Well, there are partners and not like we're partners. No. When you go to bed at night, who's in bed with you? The ACC in bed with you or are we in bed with you? No. ACC's in the guest room. Okay. In fact, they may be in the guest house. No.
The guest house being ACC Network.
Yeah.
On ESPN.
So I digress. But I mean, it's headlines. Don't get me wrong. And some of the people that were let go, I really like. Will I miss them? Yeah. Will I stop watching? No. Now, I will say that the couple of the moves they made were really surprising to me. Like, they have three main anchors to the late Sports Center. It was Neil Everett, it was Stan Verrett, and it was Ashley Brewer, I think. And she's, a attractive blonde who they hired like 4 years ago. She had, worked out in the West Coast, and she's a USC grad, and they hired her, and she's good. And that was basically the three anchors out West. Those three people did all their 1 p.m., 2 a.m. Sports Centers. Well, it's one thing to force out Neil Everett, who's, 23 years, making a good buck, etc. But they also let go of Ashley. I was like, whoa. I mean, to me, that's like, well, hell, they're going to have to move somebody out to Los Angeles. Or you've spent a lot of time invested in these three people being your, franchise late Sports Center. And now you just got rid of two of them. The other thing that is clearly, and I'm not doing this to get in trouble with a couple of the stations that we currently broadcast on, but ESPN has made it abundantly clear for years now. But I mean, the verdict came in the last 5 weeks. They don't give a damn about ESPN radio anymore, because they just did two things that are shocking if they cared about ESPN radio. A, they just fired everybody associated with their morning show. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, Max Kellerman. They're all gone. And Pat McAfee's show is not going to air on ESPN radio. It's going to air on ESPN television. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, but it's not going to be on ESPN radio. So let me get this straight. You spend big money on a morning show, which hopefully, now it wasn't really working, but they're still trying to pick up the pieces from letting Mike and Mike break up. And that was Greenberg's fault, by the way. He was tired of doing it. He got a different agent, and he went to ESPN and said, I'm not going to do this anymore. You need to choose. And they chose him. And they tried to make it work with Golick, and it was probably working better than this last morning show was, but then they blew that show up. They put Keyshawn, Jay Will, and eventually Max Kellerman together. Three guys, by the way, combined, making about $15 million. Keyshawn's reportedly got 4 years left on his contract. Keyshawn can sit home and get paid for 4 years.
Well, Keyshawn was also a regular on First Take and NFL Live.
Mm-hmm. And since they were getting rid of Susie Colbert and Steve Young and others that are part of NFL Countdown, who's going to replace those people on NFL Countdown?
Right.
I mean,
that's what surprised me about them letting go of Keyshawn. I mean, he's
right,
a valuable NFL guy.
Well, and also he's currently under contract. Okay, they could just, all right, if we're taking him off the radio, we no longer give a damn about that. They could have just moved him over to a different assignment in television. So let me get this straight. We're going to pay you to stay home for 4 years, and then we're going to do what? Hire Shannon Sharp? Now, he was a better player, okay, and you may think he's better on TV. But I thought we're trying to save money here. So why am I going to pay some guy the full rate to sit home and then have to put this new guy on? And Shannon, the word, he may join Stephen A. a couple times a week on his show. Whatever they're going to do. I don't care. But it is clear, and here, I'm willing to go this far, by the way, about the moves that company has made recently concerning ESPN radio as a whole. I actually think there's a chance ESPN radio weekdays goes away. In the next 2 years, I actually think there's a chance. I think ESPN radio could become Westwood One, where you know what they provide? Play-by-play. ESPN radio has the rights to the Major League Baseball playoffs, to the NBA playoffs, to the college football playoffs, and just about every bowl game. And I'm trying to think that what ESPN does makes money that they do on the radio that doesn't involve those three things. So now I could be dead wrong. They could just put the cheapest people they could find out there from 6A to 7P and then, run what they're normally running. But if you go back 20 plus years to what ESPN radio started out being, it was the fabulous sports babe doing a weekday show, one show per day. That's it. But it was noon to 6 on Saturdays and Sundays. That's where they actually got their teeth into you on the radio, was the weekends. Then it was Fabulous Sports Babe. Then Dan Patrick took over for her. And along with that, they put Mike and Mike on the air. And they're like, you know what? Let's try to do this 24/7. And so they went from Mike and Mike to the Dan Patrick show. And it was like, oh, wow, I got a little something going on here. Turns out we got a bunch of AM stations around the country. They need programming. They're willing to pick us up. This is cool. Miller and Moulton.
Dangerous time to be an ESPN employee right now.
Yes. Yes, it is. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Someone said this earlier in the chat, but I think that SVP is also untouchable.
I don't, because he's going to leave the late Sports Center. And once he does that, he makes himself vulnerable.
Why do you think he'll leave?
Because he's tired of the hours. I mean, it is 5 days a week. It's
some pretty
he's got a family, young family. I mean,
it's perfect though. Oh, it's
well,
perfect.
also he got them to allow him to move. I mean, he's a Maryland guy. He bought a $4 million house in Landover. I mean, he has nothing to do with Bristol anymore.
And again, you mentioned it. He's an anchor, which means he's replaceable.
Well, also, I mean, like they gave the late night Sports Center to him, and it's worked. But if he doesn't want to do it anymore, then what's his value to the company?
Right, because Sports Center will still run. It'll just be a different face.
I mean, now if they do more golf, he could be their golf play-by-play guy.
Mm. So what's a better job to have right now, do you think? An anchor or a play-by-play guy for ESPN?
Well, how many play-by-play guys got let go?
Besides Van Gundy, I mean,
he's not a play-by-play guy.
Well, true. He does color, but
here's the thing. They're still broadcasting the sports. They still got thousands of sports to broadcast. They do need people to broadcast them.
have you just done? You've done play-by-play for basketball, but you've also done play-by-play for baseball. Have you done play-by-play for football games?
Yes. I haven't done a football game in a while, but yes.
Right. We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 51, 56, and 63. Those are the magic numbers. 7 weeks Saturday, 51 days away to week 0 of the college football season. 8 weeks tonight, Gators, UCF. Week 1 of the college football season officially kicking off. 9 weeks tonight, 63 days away. Lions and Chiefs. By the way, did you see Mark Murphy, the president of the Packers, his little slip up over the 4th of July weekend? He was doing an interview. He was talking about Hard Knocks and how a lot of teams don't want it. They don't want it. And he said, yeah, I hope the Jets do okay with it. Yeah, there's only one problem. It hasn't been officially announced that it's the Jets. So thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Apparently, the Jets really don't want it too. They apparently are just giving the league hell. But it's the Jets, it's Washington, it's New Orleans, and it's who's the other choice? Was it Vegas? I don't know, but it was like, no, of course it has to be the Jets. It's a TV show. I mean, give me a break. Of course it's got to be the Jets.
It will be. I mean, it has the potential to be one of the better ones.
Yeah. And listen, if Aaron Rodgers was smart, by the way, he would try to dominate it. He would say to his teammates, I'll take the hit here. Whenever they want to talk to me, I'll absolutely mic me up, do whatever you want. Yeah. I'll carry this sucker if you want.
Right.
Don't
yeah. Try not to pull a 2019 AB
Hard Knocks.
So, just throwing this out there. Did you see that LeBron James and Rajon Rondo have teamed up and they're coaching an AAU team? Now, granted, one of the kids on the team is LeBron's son. No, not the one going to USC. He's already on campus. But this, I think, is the middle son
Middle child, yes.
who reportedly is the best player of the group.
Well, he's going to be a sophomore this year or a junior. I think a sophomore. He's already 6'8".
Okay.
So
that's promising.
Yeah. It's
so here's, and I find the reactions from AAU coaches hysterical. They are bent out of shape that LeBron and Rajon Rondo are coaching this team. You know why? Because they're like, there's no way these guys are properly certified. Oh yeah, there's no way they can have their paperwork.
No one said that and meant it. Really?
No. Oh. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Are you serious?
Oh no. There's many an AAU coach. It's like, come on now, we can't be doing this. Okay, are we just going to let anybody now coach teams?
Well,
I'm sorry.
Is this anyone, or are these two of the greatest basketball IQ minds in modern basketball?
Well, whether they are or not, I'm sorry. The one guy you do know is the NBA's all-time leading scorer. I would think he would have something to pass along to the kids. That's just me. Also, two guys who, if you just follow their careers, not only are they both able to play at the highest levels, but they both played with the ball in their hand. They both were the decision makers on their team.
Yep.
They understand what everybody's role is, where the ball should go, etc.
I am putting emphasis on Rajon Rondo here because, I mean, look at the numbers, first of all. He's one of the game's the last decade, he's probably 5th in the most assists in NBA history.
Yeah, he was a terrific point guard. Wasn't a great shooter, but it was a terrific point guard. And on an NBA champion also. And obviously LeBron's resume, we all know it. But my thought was, do you know how cool this must be for the kids?
Oh,
hell, I'd like to be a kid on the opposing team going, Coach, I love you and all, but look at who we're going up against here. Okay. And that's when, hopefully the coach says, yeah, but they're not playing. They're just coaching. If they were playing, I'd be worried. They're just coaching. We got this. Are you sure, Coach? But, I mean, there's a lot of video that's out there. And it's, I find amazing. Could you, at what point, or kids were we just so oblivious to things? Maybe the parents, I would just sit there. I think my mouth would be on the floor. My wife would finally go, what's the matter? I go, our son was just told what to do by LeBron James. I go, I said, you do know who called the other night about what time to be where and what snacks to bring. It was Rajon Rondo. I go, excuse me if I just let this sit in a little bit. And then my thing would be like, hey, Coach, are we going to exchange phone numbers here? Make sure that we're all on the same page. I know, seriously, there's got to be a group text, right? I mean, come on, you got to communicate. When are we going to practice? When do we got to be at the gym and whatever? There's got to be a group text.
And you know what? As a kid, I'd feel like it'd be almost impossible to focus, but that's when the real great ones shine, because to be
great ones, for goodness sakes, they're 14, 15
prodigies.
I don't want it, whatever. Okay.
Imagine hooping on LeBron's team.
I just, for goodness sakes, it's like when Charlie Wood shows up at the first tee and his dad is standing there watching him. I mean, at what point do you go, holy blank, that's Tiger Woods? I mean, it must have been like back in the day because Jack Nicklaus was a doting father. He didn't practice as much as he should have, according to him, and he didn't play as much as he should have because they had a big family and the kids had events and he wanted to be around a lot. And I could only imagine back in the day, Jack Nicklaus sitting there at your kids' events. It's like, holy blank, it's Jack Nicklaus.
But if you're a kid, this is it. This is your moment. This is your time to shine and really get your name out there. I mean, if you can give a LeBron James coached team work,
right?
That is the eye. That is the all-being eye that you are.
And not only that, if you're Andy Enfield at USC, you kind of like, hey, listen, no, I don't want to talk to you about your son. Your son's doing fine, by the way. He had a great practice the other day. Hey, kids on your team, any of them players besides yours, of course? I don't know. I had to laugh at the people who were like, well, I don't think they've got their gold certificate. What do they need it in basketball?
Yeah, it's a criminal statement.
I think, I don't know. I think LeBron could pass the test. In fact, I don't even know why we have. Listen, if he's willing to, what is it that you need the coach to do? You just give me the list of guidelines. I'm pretty sure he's doing them. I love the fact there's video of him like diagramming the play. And then coming out of a timeout, how the players leave the bench and he's walking out on the floor going, now make sure you pick him up and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, it's LeBron James.
Well, hell, he coaches during the game as well.
I understand.
He's grown men.
But they're all his age. They're professionals. They're making millions of dollars. I would be useless to my son. I really would. I don't even know if I could physically go, so how was practice? I think that's about all I'd be able to contribute to this relationship. Honestly, I would just say to my wife, find out how it's going. I'm incredulous that this is happening.
It's the point guard in Rondo. I could see Rondo actually being a Hall of Fame kind of coach. I mean, he is a perfect coach. He's loud. He will hold players accountable. I feel like Rondo out of the two is the more harsh coach.
You really think so?
I do.
Really think so? I do not. No, I think it's actually, I think of the two, Rondo's more the players coach. I think really? LeBron. Yes, absolutely. Have you seen LeBron on the court? Okay. Have you seen how he's gotten in teammates' face when they don't do the right thing?
But LeBron's not a fighter. Rondo is a fighter.
Come on.
Rondo will stick his giant hand in your face. Rondo infamously with the giant hands.
I just think
commercial. Amazing.
I don't know. Sorry to go on too long about this, ladies and gentlemen, but I could not get over when I saw a video. I'm like, holy blank. The 14, 15-year-old AAU guys are being coached by, wait for it, LeBron James. He's still playing, I mean, that's the other thing. He hasn't even retired yet. This isn't like a couple years after retirement, all of a sudden Magic and Larry and Michael are coaching. Well, they're retired, I guess. They're bored, it's their kids. No, he's still playing. How'd you spend your summer? I was coaching my kids' AAU team. I'm sorry, what's your name again? LeBron James. Huh.
Well, it's kind of like how Kobe Bryant used to coach his daughters' AAU.
Yeah, well,
imagine walking into him. Are you serious? This is who we have to play against?
But Kobe had retired.
True.
Okay. Now, I will say, if you think about it, it's a great way to spend time with your kids. I think they have 3. One's already off to college. And so, it is a great way. And you don't spend as much time with them as you want during the season. It's a long season, the whole deal. So I know a lot of you don't like LeBron. I get it. And I am a LeBron guy. He's flawed. He's done some stupid things, but I'm a LeBron guy. But when I saw him coaching AAU team, I was like, holy mackerel. My goodness. I mean, could you imagine Patrick Mahomes, whenever the offseason is and he's, out, he's at spring football practice, his local high school. And you'd be like, son of a gun, It's Patrick Mahomes.
And at AAU, yeah.
Like if Brady shows up now, he's retired. It's cool as you know what. If all of a sudden he wants to be a volunteer coach for his oldest's football team. Yeah, it'd be cool, but he is retired. It'd be really cool if he had somehow, some way showed up at his kid's high school. He's going to be the quarterback coach during the spring. Huh. Okay. I'm sorry. Is that arguably the greatest NFL player of all time? Yeah, it's Tom Brady. He's still playing, right? Yeah, he's still playing. Just led the Bucs to the Super Bowl. And I'm sorry, what's he doing for us? Well, he's getting the water, and he's going to help out with some of the drills. Huh.
He just wants to be around the game. That's all.
Right. Just, wants to spend some time with his son. Well, tell you what, we got to keep the son on the team. I know that.
Well, it's funny because this isn't actually the first time that LeBron has done something like this, being involved with AAU teams and all. With his older son, he has done this in the past. And
well, but he also, though, was sometimes a voice coming from the crowd. And I mean, his behavior was not always the best in the past.
Right. He's the typical AAU dad who's trying to be the coach, but isn't actually the coach.
So now he just said, screw it. Yeah, he said, the hell with it. I'm going to be the coach.
But what's funny is that because he is LeBron James, during halftime and during timeouts of these games or warmups or whatever, of course, they're going to pass him a ball. And what is he doing in dress clothes? He's shooting. Right. He's throwing up lobs off the backboard, catching it, and doing reverse dunks. I mean, is he the modern coach?
I just saw the video, and there's not much that stops me in my tracks anymore. At my age, with all that we've seen, what really surprises you? What makes you go, holy? Yeah, that did. All I could think of was if I was that age. Hi, Mom. Yeah, no, practice was good. Got to be there at 1:00 tomorrow. By the way, we have a new coach. Yeah, no, I don't know what happened to Coach Stallings. Okay. No, his kid's still on the team, but we have a new coach. Oh, really? Who is it? Coach James. Coach James. We have a new coach, Coach James. Coach James and Coach Rondo. Oh, okay. Really? Should I meet them? Well, yeah, you could do that. They're both big. One's really big. Well, what do you mean by big? Well, big in stature, physically, and just, as a coach. Huh. You make it sound like this guy's a big deal. It's LeBron James, Mom. I'm being coached by LeBron James. I've never been so happy to sit on the bench, Mom. Coach James, can I get you some water? Thank you, Coach James. Can I call you LeBron? No, Coach James it is. Got it.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, Coach.
Yep. Is LBJ going too far? No? Okay, Coach. Got it. I don't know. Miller and Moulton. I'll get over it by tomorrow, I promise. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes,